up, and then I'll just be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about. Yeah, let me know if you have questions as we go. Okay. All right, so a few things noticing. So, firstly, we're using. Let's talk about your E usage. So, like when you're doing your big dark magic release, you both times I'm noticing you're using it when you're not fully charged on it, which just means that it's not doing maximum damage. So we use it when we're like 73 there, and then we use it the last time I think we were somewhere around that, maybe even a little bit less. So we used it when I guess we're a little bit max. We're 84 there. So maybe like we could
Yeah.
charge it up just like one more time. That'll make sure it's doing max damage. And the reason why you would want to charge it up more is because the more you're doing in one burst, the more likely you are to actually kill something, right?
Yeah.
Because the slower you kill things, the more likely they are to get away, healed, use an ability. They're just going to be more likely to survive it. So higher damage numbers means more likely to kill something. The other thing I'm noticing about both uses of your E is that both times you seem to be primarily using them on the tanks, which isn't like
Mhm.
horrible. It's maybe just not optimal. And you're also not following it up with any extra damage afterwards too. Like you needed to reload after that one, so you couldn't even follow it up with a shot whip or anything like that. Whereas a lot of time with Doctor Strange players, what you'll see is they'll kind of farm up the tanks a little bit, and then if you just like push forwards a
Oh,
hair, use it on the squishies, and you can follow up with some extra damage, and you might be able to maybe get a pick on them, especially if you see that anybody's low. And then you
yeah.
back up and kind of come back to main. And a lot of times the tanks will still get the damage, but your target, who you're trying to go for, is the easier character, and that gets kind of
Mhm.
the target priority. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I'm really beating up the tanks here, and I'm not really getting the most damage I could be doing
Yeah,
while
exactly.
doing that. So I could go around them.
Yeah,
What if I like played this fight and I like focused on these squishies you see right here?
yeah. That's exactly what I'm kind of getting at is if you just simply instead of looking at the tanks and using your E on them, if you just took one step forward and looked at these squishies and used your E, well, you'd probably still hit the tanks with it, but then you'd also hit the soldier and the Winter Soldier and the what was that, Invisible Woman. So you probably hit both of them.
Dagger.
And oh, it is dagger. Okay, gotcha. So they look pretty similar. Um, so you could probably hit both the dagger and the Winter Soldier at the same time, um, and then also get in some follow up damage as well.
Gotcha.
Potentially leading to a kill, but they're full HP, so they might not even get to a kill. But alright, we see this again. We kind of farm up the tanks. I think it's fine and good. We just use it a little early, and we're not even looking at really anything particular to follow up. Good job going for the Winter Soldier. Oh, we get run over, man. Okay. Alright, and now the fight's kind of lost. We could probably recontest with Portal, maybe. No, your whole team's ahead of you already. Yeah. If your team hadn't tried to like run back in and they're respawning, it could have maybe tried to go for a Portal recontest,
Yeah.
but you kind of would have just staggered in there. Okay. So watch just flying unnecessarily because like that just wastes the cool. Oh, I forgot. Sometimes I like
Is that
have the bar up.
unnecessary? I thought I got woke.
Let's go back. I think that you could have just walked. Look right there.
Oh,
Yeah, you just walk past it. Maybe you thought you were walled and you were actually weren't. So that might have been might have been it.
Yeah, that's an awareness thing. I mean, I saw the wall. That was fun.
Nope. Might be really good idea to shield your team there while they're all stuck in Groodle, instead of just trying to shoot at them. Because
Yeah.
notice how their whole team. I mean, while your Magneto shield is up, you might not need to. But once that goes down, look at how your whole team's just like stuck right here, all up in it. Might have been really good to shield for them.
Yeah.
Notice once again
Wasting the fly.
yeah, wasting the fly, canceling it immediately.
Now I don't have it for the guy who just went top too.
Yeah, well you did get it back. That's good.
Oh, that's fast.
By the eye of Agamotto. Leave me,
Okay. So let's relook at this. So one problem is that we don't have. I mean, like I think it's a pretty decent Eye of Agamotto. Um, see, the problem is, it's currently a 5v3. Your Magneto's half HP, and you don't have a way to immediately follow up with your ultimate per se.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that I think you're about to get a kill. Might just been better if you had an E. I don't know if this is how well this is gonna go though. Huh? Actually, you guys take it. Nice. Okay, so I think you got a player back, and you actually got it. Nice.
Yeah, the Punisher was in a really good place to follow up here.
Yeah. You were looking at the Winter Soldier, and then you look away from him when you get into like 1 HP, and we like turn around. So maybe just finishing off that kill would have been a good idea.
Yeah.
Nice. Alright, cool. Good clutch ult.
Yeah, it really did work out. I probably could have got canceled by that Winter Soldier. I wasn't really tracking this out.
Okay. Notice there once again, like we're I think we're trying to just burst them quickly, but like we only have it charged at like 20% there, and 20% usually just isn't gonna do a whole lot. Or 14%.
It's like 20 damage. Great.
See, this is actually as a small tip. I don't know if this is a common knowledge yet. I'm not actually sure yet. But something I've noticed is that their name tag will stay above their head if they're about to be rezzed by Rocket Raccoon, rather than disappearing. I don't know. Have you noticed that yet?
Definitely not.
Yeah. So if you notice here, you kill him, and then his name tag stays above his head on his corpse. I think that's
awesome.
probably a bug, but notice how you're about to watch it in kill feed. He's about to get res. You see it on the top right corner of your screen there.
Yep.
Right. So that's definitely something to watch out for.
So then what
Yep.
would you have played differently? And like, if you had that knowledge, like what would you
Yeah.
have done?
Well, knowing that they're alive is important information, because there's going to be plenty of scenarios where like you think that they're dead and then all of a sudden they're back immediately, and that completely changes how you're playing, right? Because that it means the difference that they're not down a person, they still have them. What if they have their ultimates? What if they are like going on the flank? You could think that you've won a fight, and then all of a sudden they have an extra player, and that means all the difference. And now it's a more even fight rather than being a one fight. Or you think you have an advantage, but really you don't have an advantage because they still have their player back. So knowing knowing that they're alive means that you can be prepared, and like if you were about to push because you think you have an advantage, well now you can't really push because you're not at an advantage. You're just neutral. Does that make sense?
Yep. And we'll see how that plays out with like the Spidey having his ult right here. It really could change it.
Yeah, okay, so Spidey just rolls your back line. Not really too much you can do. Maybe you can try to play a bit more close to your team so you can shield them a bit better.
Yeah.
I think shields maybe going a little bit underutilized in general. I feel like we're maybe
For,
going
like the
some
team.
um
Like,
yeah, for like the team, like in situations where the team needs a shield. Thanks,
yeah,
bro.
and it's like whenever they have ults too.
Okay, good shields there.
The winds of Watu
Nice.
bear this day.
Alright. Once again, you're doing like the 14%.
Yeah. Man, I probably could be becoming Spidey too. No one expects to take that much damage from him. From this range.
Okay. Yeah, good job just backing up. Alright. Alright, let's see how if it does anything. But otherwise I'm about to call the problem with it. What was the problem with that ultimate?
So yeah, go bird's eye view. My like whole team is super far away. Can't follow up.
Bird's eye view I don't think is that great. It goes so high. I don't know why it goes
Oh.
I don't know why it actually goes that high, but it does. What one are you? You're 3? Alright, so your team is far behind you. Right, so that's one thing. I think there's a more pressing thing that means that this ultimate that is the reason why this ultimate doesn't get value. Maybe let's
Everyone's looking at something else.
right, so your team's a little far back. Right. Sorry, you
I
can't
don't
turn
know.
your camera. Darn it, you can't turn the camera angle.
Yeah,
Real
you
well.
can. You can use middle mouse button. Hold that down and then turn.
Oh, you hold it. Oh,
Oh,
there we go. Man, thanks for teaching me something. That is such a weird mechanic. I don't know why you can't just. All right. Awesome.
right?
Can I?
Yeah, it
Okay.
changes everything.
I can. I guess I gotta go change that so that I can. Maybe I'll change it to like left click or something like that so I can move around.
Yeah.
But all right. So the big thing here with your ultimate. Let's go back a couple seconds. Okay, look what they use. Look what ultimate they use, like 4 seconds before you ult.
Oh my god. Yeah, I could be shielding that.
Which one? The Magneto ult?
The Magneto.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep. So you could be shielding Magneto ult, right? So that's something. I'm talking about the reason why your ultimate didn't get value. So you could be getting the Magneto ult. All right. Another one. There's another one that comes through here. All right
That's
there.
so quick.
The cloak ult, right? So that just means that even if unless you have something that's gonna be able to one tap those guys, they're just gonna get out healed. Like they're just gonna
Oh.
heal through anything that your team pumps into them. So unless
Yeah.
you have a combo that you're like communicating with your team, like maybe if you like get like a Squirrel Girl ult into it, or maybe if you had like a Punisher ult and they're all standing still, that might be able to shred somebody through it. But just a normal ult with no combo, it's not gonna be able to kill them through the Cloak's ultimate. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally misread that. I mean, I'm going in here thinking like, this is fat. We're gonna kill Clip.
Yeah. So because of the fact that they have that, even though you get a lot of people, like it is a big. I mean, you get 2 people, right? You get 2 people, but they just no matter what damage you put through there, they're just full HP.
Yeah, I gotta track that.
Yep.
So,
So
I mean, it's keeping in mind of like, okay, they have a support ult, and that's gonna negate my
Yeah.
strange one.
So waiting like just until it ends is gonna be probably the way to go. Um,
Yeah.
or catching them before they use it or whatever. But that's awareness, right? That's paying attention. And I know that's hard considering your PC setup, but it's paying attention to your surroundings because even if you don't see it, you can hear that too, right?
Yep. Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Another Spidey roll.
Okay. So Spidey comes through, kind of shreds you. Okay, let's rewatch this from back here. Just kind of lost track. Okay, so we're backing up. Spidey is in the middle of your team. Yeah, not much you can do. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's just the ultimate there. If we had gone a better ult, we could have won.
So how about positioning in a fight like that? Like you
In
saw
last
that
fight
I
or
was
this fight?
very separate. The last fight, I was very
Mhm.
separated from my team, and I mean that just ends up me being like unable to shield them whenever they
Yeah.
get dove.
If you know that they have a Spider-Man ult, you could try to be more on top of them, but then also it does give them a lot of space to push if you're just like all the way on your back line. Um,
Yeah.
I think that honestly, I don't think that the positioning was too bad because if you just got a better ult in, then you could have wiped them. If you just waited till like if you just waited till their ults were done, your whole team was still alive. We could have just gotten a big ult in, and then they would have all died.
Mhm.
I think that it was like you maybe could have played more on the corner. Like you could have maybe played a little bit more closer to like this box corner. Um, Rather than like on this side, but you're also looking for your ultimate, so I think that's like it's fine to play a little bit more aggressively if you're looking for an ultimate. Okay.
Gotcha.
Here you have five. I think you're down somebody. Um, you're down your
I
Magneto.
don't think so.
You're
Oh,
down
here we
your,
lost to Spidey.
you
Looking
guys,
at the kill, like the bot, like
yeah,
no
but
one's
I
dead.
think
It's not.
I think your Magneto's still walking back from spawn though.
Wait,
But it's okay
it's
because it's
weird.
a 5v5. Notice once again, we're using a 50 charge on her, and look at just how much damage that does. Like it's okay, it's damage. It's just if that was 100, you'd be able to melt somebody much quicker with that. Are you familiar with Strange's like whip tech yet?
No, I see people doing that, and I'm like, "Ooh, is there a secret button?"
No.
So,
So
how does that work? How do you do it?
so it's really simple, and all it is when you're within range of it, just I was about don't queue for competitive. I was trying to go to the practice range. When you're within range of your melee, you just add your melee in between your shots because it just timing wise, it fits in between your shots because you have such a big delay between every shot. What you can do is just shoot whip, and it just kind of combos in, and you can melt them faster. So notice the difference between 1, 2, 3, 4
Yeah, it should be dead.
versus 1, 2, 3. And so you melt them a little bit quicker.
Sure.
So
Yeah, I gotta start doing that.
and your whip is honestly has a decent range on it, right? So you can do that from back here. And if you're comboing your max charge into it, you can really shred them. Oh darn it! Let's see, we're gonna have to charge this up on other people here. Right. So especially if you're getting max charge, look how fast you can shred it. That's your one tap combo right there.
Got it.
Is
Yeah.
you max charge, you shoot, and you melee, and that's what I'm talking about when you're going for those squishies in the backline. You have the ability to melt them much quicker than those tanks. The tanks
Yeah.
you're gonna have a much harder time shredding them.
really getting what you're saying about charging it up until it's 100. We
Yeah.
just saw with like one of those bots. Use it at 97, and he lives with
Yeah.
3 health.
Yeah. Yep. And like if you're in the middle of combat, it doesn't always gotta be like 100. Like especially if somebody's already
Yeah.
low. Like if somebody's low, then it'll get them anyways, right? But if they're all full HP, just charge it up to 100. Or like high 90s or whatever. Just don't use it when it's down at like 50 if they're all full HP. Now if they're that low, then use it, right? Because you can just use it to finish them off. Right.
Can we jump back into the replay?
Yep.
A tribute to my powers.
For sure.
One thing I'd really like to see is the attack after after we lose the push. I play Hulk, and that kind of character is a lot different, and there's
Yeah.
probably a lot of tech, like things you just showed me that I need to learn.
Our enemies are near.
It's now or never.
Yeah. Yeah. Really basic, but you like with Hulk, but you can hold on to walls, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throwing myself into quite a few walls, figured that one out. What the shit? I didn't even know there was a melee button.
Yeah, probably a good one to have bound. At this point, you're kind of all dead. Little push forwards into them there. Doctor Strange, like I would, with his character, I'd say it's kind of a push and pull, right? Where you have a little bit of range, so you're gonna want to kind of poke a little bit, and then you push when you have like your E up. You can push in with it, try to get some value, and then you back up a little bit, and you play a little
Yeah.
bit more passive. So just in between those E's, play a little bit more passive because we're kind of just like sprinting in to their team like off of nothing in particular. Or after we were trying to get the Winter Soldier, but then after Winter Soldier gets away, probably want to start to back up and go get around the corner, making sure you're using cover and not just standing out in the open. Maybe we'll go over that
Yeah.
at some point.
Alright. So the big thing I'm running into is being in the fight while not really able to get a lot done.
Okay.
I could pull out and go back in.
Be careful because you're going in without your team, and then that just gets you shredded. Right, look at your health bar. We were
Yeah.
going and engaging when nobody else was there yet, and that just means that all 6 people can look at you and shred you and kill you, right? If you just wait till now, right? If you waited an extra 4 seconds, then you can actually push in with the support of your team, which means you get healed, you get extra tanking. Maybe you can get a bubble from Magneto. You can get a lot more support, and they'll all be distracted. They'll have different people to look at. So time it so that you're going in with your team, not by yourself.
Can we roll that one back? I want to see like what I was trying to do.
I think you're trying to dive. I think we just weren't paying. We're trying to dive and finish off the Spider-Man. Was what you're trying to do, but we weren't paying attention to where the rest of their team was.
Yeah.
Okay. So especially if the Winter Soldier is like this far forward ahead of his team, might more than using your damage first, if you can stun him out of position, then that'll allow for your team to follow up and kill him a lot easier. So maybe following up, or like starting off with a stun and then following up with damage afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, notice once again, like we're kind of diving in, and if we look at like where your team is, right? Oh, that's the way to do it fast. You hold shift. There we go. That's a little bit better. All right.
Cool.
So, if you notice, your team's all the way back there. So we're pushing in. And we don't really have much to shoot at and do from here, right? Maybe you could be diving for like the rocket on the back. That could be an idea. Rather than smacking the Magneto. You have a tendency to not necessarily look at the best characters in terms of target priority.
Yeah.
Well,
Like going for those tanks whenever there's like healers or squishies.
yeah,
when-
exactly. So, like, it's not to say you never shoot at tanks. You can shoot at tanks if they're low, if they're out of position, if they're the only thing you can shoot at. But if you have the option to go for other characters, then go for other characters, and you can even go and actively seek out other characters, right? Like as Hulk, you can go and dive that rocket in the back instead of shooting at that Magneto. Or we've seen other cases where, like we we're talking about with Doctor Strange, where you could very easily just take that extra step and just turn your attention to the squishier characters, and you'll get more value out of it that way. Okay, great bubble, really nice. That was a really good placement of that. Good kill there. Though notice that his name tag stayed, so I think he's gonna get rezzed. Oh wait, it was very
There's so many name tags.
yeah, like right there. So a little hard to see in the game, but just once again to show you. But notice how like there's no
Yeah.
name tag for like your Luna. It's very interesting.
Okay, so
It's probably a glitch.
yeah, probably. So what's the next move here? Like, we just killed their main tank.
Yeah, I mean you killed another tank. That's fine. Okay. So you might need. You're kind of deciding, do I need to ult or not here? Nice kills. Yeah, no, I mean you played it fine. I mean like you had a really good bubble, and then we just cleaned up the fight. I see you're just like constantly holding left click.
Yeah, it makes everything a little easier, man. One less thing to do. Oh, just jump past someone.
Okay.
Oh, it's the last second.
It is last fight. Yep. It's gonna know. If it wasn't last fight, but it was last fight, so it's fine.
You hurt people.
Alright. No, you're not Peen Puff. There we go.
I wish I was Peen Puff. This is carrying us.
Okay. We seem to be missing a lot of. Make sure you're just very intentional about landing his abilities, because since they're such long cooldowns, you want to make sure we're using them more carefully.
Yeah, that's something I do. One of the problems I find on a lot of characters is like the abilities, doing them.
Yeah, like notice
without
like
aiming.
look at where your crosshair is here when we're we're aiming at the ground and plopping it into the wall there. So watch where your crosshair's positioned and make sure it's on top of people, because you'll be a lot more successful if you can get your crosshair to like be where you want it to be.
That's a pro tip, man. Even with Hulk, you think you don't have to aim.
Yeah, but you still gotta aim a little bit. You're not using your exile at all, right? So you're just using your right click, your damage. But it looks like exile, especially when when those tanks are like up and out of position, or if you're in like a 1v1 duel. Like let's look really quickly at maybe some combos on Hulk. I'll be honest, I haven't played as much Hulk as Strange, so there's a little. Let's experiment a hair, because I'm imagining that exile it, like if you're able to get on top of like a squishy and exile them, that's gonna be a very effective way to melt them down. So exile, punch. Oh, sorry, wrong ability. Right. So if you're exiling them first, it kind of stun or soon, so you you leap on top of them, right? So let's say you charge up the leap, you get on top of them, you punch, exiles and are able to run away, and then you follow up with some damage. Is how I've seen a lot of Hulks like get value like on the me as like a DPS player, right? Like that's how I see Hulks getting on top of me and shredding me. Is that they leap in, they throw in a punch or two. You think, okay, I'm cool. You're trying to run away, and then he exiles, and that stops you from running away, and he follows it up with the extra damage. Does that make sense?
Mm.
And you're able
So
as Hulk
there's one part that I'm a little confused about.
Mhm.
So we have like two. Well, we have the damage that I can aim, the right click, and then the exile stun. So which one to use first, right? And like, what if I miss the exile and then?
Well, if you miss it, you miss
That's a
it. You
longer
just follow up with
cooldown.
the damage. It's usually it's generally speaking, it's better to use your burst damage to finish something off. You don't. It's let's see how I don't actually know the range of your abilities. So what was the range of your abilities?
Oh, it's a lot.
Yeah, I'll have to, that's something else to maybe check out real quick. But generally speaking, you want to follow up with damage. You want to finish off targets with damage. Oh, dang. Okay. So that's 30 meters. You can see meters above people's heads, by the way, if you go here. Exile, 40 meters. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like it's just a projectile that can just travel as far as you want it to go. I thought it had a range on it. Oh, good to know. Okay.
All right, so that's something we'll gotta like look out for. Is like, when could I be finishing people off with Hulk? And when could it, with the right click,
So
and catching them off guard with the
yeah,
exile.
so if you're like poking from like back here, then just use it. Like just use right click and just get some extra damage in, right? That's fine. But once you start to get closer to the fight, you're gonna want to start to use it instead of just spamming it in there. You're gonna want to use it as a way to burst down characters or finish off characters if they're like out of range of your punches. So like what they'll do is they'll start to run away from you, right? So they're you do a bunch of damage, and they start to run away, and then they get out of range, and if they're low enough, you can use that to finish them off while they're trying to run away. And the reason why you use it as the finisher is because if you use it to open and you do all this damage to start, then that puts them in panic mode and they use their abilities, right? So if it's a support, they they use all their abilities, they ask for healing, they run away, and now you don't get the kill, right? But if you just punch them normally, there's a little bit less pressure on them, so they think they're a little chill, right? They're fine. And then you stun, and then you follow up with the big fast damage, comboing together, and that finishes them really quickly, so they have less time to escape. It's the same concept behind behind what we were talking about with Strange. Is the faster you kill something, the less likely they are to actually get away from you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So
Let's
it's
jump
fun.
back into the game, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
One thing is the time. I'm conscious of that. I want to like get through the whole game and stuff.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I disconnected my headphones. No, it works. I think I can hear you now.
Cool.
The right heroes could make all the difference.
All right. So we're like back here somewhere. Yeah, so we're jumping in on their back line. We're looking for something to punch. We use Gamma Shield. We don't exile it. We don't use either of your abilities. We turn around. We use it pretty quick. Good job escaping. Yeah, we're coming in and punching their front line. Okay. Yeah. It seems like we don't right now have like a set goal in mind. We're just kind of punching stuff, right?
Okay.
I think getting on top of somebody and diving them will be a much more effective strategy. I mean, this is fine. They're kind of out of position. Oh, we just used. What did we use the exile on? We
Moon.
tried to use it on the Moon Knight, and then he got
It
away.
was super late.
Yeah. Yeah, more intentionality behind your abilities, definitely, right? Like that's just in general, right? Like when it comes to application of the things we're talking about, right? Like you put this stuff into practice by making sure that while you're playing, you're not just playing to play or autopiloting, but you're actively playing to improve and you're thinking about the things you're trying to work on. So if you were trying to work on your abilities, you would think to yourself, abilities, exile, damage shot, right click, and when you're giving yourself that constant stream of reminders to think about the thing, you're probably going to think about it more and use it more effectively than if you didn't think about it at all. And then that means that if you do that for a certain amount of time, that forms positive habits. And then once you form positive habits, then you're able to actually improve and move on from there. You don't have to focus on it as much. Final thing is just don't try to do everything all at once because that just gets a little overwhelming. Pick out like one category of things or 1 to 3 smaller things within a category to work on, and then that way you're actually able to work on things and improve on them. So that's like the application process. Does all that make sense? Any questions on it?
It makes sense. I'm thinking of like, with Strange, trying to get more value out of the E, using it to combo people, and wear them down. Then with the Hulk, same thing with like the right. I'd probably work on the E. That thing's just
Yeah.
sitting unused all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. And like also just like I think on both maybe what characters you're looking at too. Definitely is gonna be something.
Yeah,
Like here we're
like
trying
the
to like
isolated
run after
squishies.
Spider-Man. Unless you land an exile in him, I don't think you're gonna be able to kill the Spider-Man. You're gonna be much better off if you're trying to leap after something else. Okay, so we got the Spider-Man. Okay, we use 2 abilities straight into a Magneto shield. Alright, watch his shield. It's right there, so make sure you're not ulting straight into, or not using abilities straight into it. Okay, if you see Rocket's respawn beacon, that's a really high priority thing to kill, because if you get another kill, they're just gonna get respawned, right? So you see that respawn beacon just chilling there. We get the
Yeah.
kill on the cloak, but then she's just gonna get rezzed if we like leap out and leave that up, right? So that actually didn't get any value. You're also disengaging here when I don't know if you need to disengage. I guess you're trying to leap after like the Doctor Strange. I don't know if we like need to fully leap back to the team there. You have a lot of health and your ultimate. So we're like
Yeah.
leaping back into to go for the tanks when you still have other squishies around you. Like let's look real quick. We're like just jumping without even like looking where people are. When there's a rocket over here, you could go for the Moon Knight up on the high ground. That'd be really good because he's kind of isolated
I'm
by
not even
himself.
seeing them. Like, I'm jumping before I've even looked
Yeah.
to see who I could jump to.
Exactly. Yep. 100%. Look around to make sure you know who you're jumping on. Yep. And then by this point, I think you've pretty much lost the fight. Okay, so this right here is a miss ultimate, right? Because we're not paying. So once again, coming to awareness, because we're not watching the flow of the fight. If you look at the top left corner of your screen, you're down 3 people, and they have their whole team. So if we go to third person here, we look around for a second. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4 versus and almost 5. The Rockets over there in the corner versus 2 people. So they're up 3 people. That's a big advantage on their end. That means that they've pretty much won the fight. So if you're big thing to watch out for. How do you tell whether or not you've won or lost a fight? Watch kill feed. Kill feed's an easy place to see it. You know, even if your whole monitor is a little blurry and you don't get the best FPS, kill feed's kind of stagnant, so that's something you can be paying attention to easily enough. And if you're watching kill feed, or another option here is you have audio. You can go to audio, combat mix, and you can have announce when teammate and announce when enemy are KO'd.
That's cool.
Those are things you can turn on, and those give you little ping sounds, and that's just an extra thing to be able to know and be aware of when people are up and down. So if you are up or down, one or two people, that's an advantage or a disadvantage. In that case, you can play more aggressive or more passive. If you are up or down 2 or 3 people, that is a won or lost fight. If you have won the fight, you go, try to clean them up, get stagger kills. If you've lost the fight, well, then you get out if you can. And if you can't get out, then you let them kill you. That way you're not staggering and dying really late and then wasting your team's time or causing your team to continue to stagger and starting a stagger train. Is all that you're familiar with that? I'm forgetting that you played Overwatch a ton, right?
Yeah, this is something I'm calling to my teammates in games. And
Yep.
and honestly, I'm still like making a mistake right here, right?
Yep.
And I'm not noticing
Yep.
that. So I'm trying to like wonder why. I'm
Yeah.
thinking
It comes to awareness.
probably has to do with the res. Like I thought the cloak was dead, and
Mm.
she got
Mhm.
res, right?
Yep. And
That's something I'm missing.
even if the cloak wasn't dead, it's still a 2v4 and your Magneto's half HP, right? So you
Hmm.
got to be paying attention to the flow of the fight. That even if she was dead, and because that's awareness to watch for that, because that's exactly what we were talking about before earlier when you asked, like, well, what's the benefit of knowing that they're alive? Right, this
Yeah,
is
well,
this right here.
they're here, they're ulting, no
Yeah.
one can die because everyone has health.
Yep. Um,
It's over.
so here you just don't want to use ultimate if you know that the fight has been won or lost already, right? So just over ult, and
Yeah.
then we don't have it for next fight. Right. Honestly, could just be disengage. Oh, we get a kill. Sick. I would just probably try to be disengaging still. If we let back sooner, maybe we could have caught the Magneto on our way out. But
Yeah.
we just end up staggering is what we do, right? And then now look at where you are in comparison to your whole team. Oh, do you did it get caught on that?
Yeah.
That's weird. Ah, cool.
What? Look at the top right. I didn't even notice. Very decent. This is just not cool.
I think you can make it also, like, if you need to. I think you can make your UI bigger, so that's also another option.
Yeah.
All right. We taking a lot of damage, and you drop shield when I think you still have shield available. So we still have we're 50 HP. Watch the health bar, and we have like 600 on your shield. Not the time to be dropping shield. If you're that low, right? So watch your health. Make sure you're shielding. Make sure you're getting behind a corner and using cover. I think a lot of times you're also just standing on the open. Good positioning is the usage of cover. Bad positioning is the absence of cover. You're gonna be negating a lot of damage if you can get behind corners and play off of corners and different kinds of cover. It could be a lot easier to hit somebody when they're not like moving at a million miles an hour. So maybe try to save for when the Spider-Man's like stopped his movement. Yeah. Good job disengaging. It's honestly just an ultimate to wait out.
Okay, like if we pause right here,
Mhm.
what are you like seeing who's isolated, who to go on, and
Yeah.
focus?
So what I'm looking at is the fact that you're trying to smack the Groot, and Groot's just gonna get. He's just gonna get out healed. He's just going. He has a crap ton of health. You're not gonna kill him. What I'm seeing is one. Look at. Oh, sorry, wrong perspective there. One. Look at the Moon Knight who's like 2 inches from him to the left. Right. So that's an easy kill right there. Look at really like you could be going on the Moon Knight. You could be going on the Invisible Woman, though she can probably jump away from it pretty easy. I'd say Moon Knight's
That's
in
the
a pretty
dagger.
exposed. Ah, darn it! You're right. For
You're
some
doing
reason,
that too.
they look really similar.
Mhm.
um, like they're like blonde and have white bodysuits. Um,
Seriously,
all
it's
right.
all in the hair.
Yeah, so dagger, like you could be going for either dagger or Moon Knight here. Like you could also try to jump on the rocket in the back, but and then that would kind of take attention away from your team, is another option. But just also sitting like on this main angle, just like sitting in the front means that all five of them
Yeah.
just shoot at you for free. If you're over here on the Moon Knight, you LOS two of their team, the people on their team. If you jump on their back line, then their team can still turn for you, but then they're leaving the main front line completely open and exposed. But if you're just sitting down the middle, then they can just put all the pressure into one spot, and you're also doing nothing in the meanwhile. Does that all make
Yeah.
sense?
Mhm.
All right. We actually ran out of time, so let's do a quick wrap up review and main points of the session, and go over that. So we went over Hulk and Strange abilities. Honestly, Strange. I think your portal. I only saw like 1 or 2 portals. They're fine. Shield maybe could be using a little bit more. Watch your health. Watch the health of your teammates around you as well. I
Yeah.
don't know if I don't think it auto shows. It might be a good thing to have. I think you can turn on in. I'm not sure where it shows. Keyboard, HUD. Darn it, heroes. So allied health bars. Maybe turn that on for Strange, because then you can see when your teammates are low health, and you can be holding up shield for them, right? And that just is gonna help you be a bit better at tanking if you can see their health bars. So that'd be a good setting to maybe enable. And then besides that, don't waste your fly. I think like half the time you just didn't have it because you wasted it. Look to charge up your E more, do the whip combo with it, and burst people down. Overall abilities, probably like a higher end of a medium priority for you to work on. Same with Hulk. Probably about the same. I think your abilities just need to be more intentional. I think your shields are pretty solid. No problems with your bubbles.
Mhm.
Next, besides that, comes ultimate usage. Just make sure you're not ulting in won or lost fights. And then make sure you're not ulting if they are in the middle of using a support ult, which happened both times you used your ultimate. They were in the middle of using a cloak and dagger ultimate.
Yeah.
So make sure you're not ulting in the middle of another ult. That probably goes to like a medium priority for you to work on. Then comes mechanics. I mean, like honestly, Hulk, just make sure you're aiming at people when you're using your abilities. Be intentional with it. Strange, do your combos, and then also target priority. Don't look at those tanks 24/7. Shoot at the squishies unless the tanks are out of position, they're low, or the only thing for you to shoot at. Focus down their back line and put attention into them. Overall, that was all like a medium priority. Next comes your positioning. Just make sure you're using cover. Good positioning is the usage of cover. Bad positioning is the absence of cover. I think sometimes you're just too far out in the open and relying on your big health pool to survive. But if you're just doing that, then you're gonna have situations where you're just taking more damage overall, and you're more likely to if you're taking more damage, you're just more likely to die and putting more pressure on your healers. Use
Yeah.
shield a little bit more. Shield hop like with Reinhardt in Overwatch.
Yeah.
You can kind of shoot, shield. That's another thing you can do is shoot, shield, shoot, shield, shoot, shield. Like that's a really good combo as well, especially if you're like taking space or backing up. That's gonna be really.
Our enemies are near.
Sorry about that.
Can't quite hear you, Mike.
Oh yeah, sorry. I had something going on in the background.
Oh, good.
Then.
So yeah, so we're talking about positioning, abilities. I mean, if I'm up here, out in front, and I'm beating up the tanks, it's like I'm just taking so much damage and not really doing the right damage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not to say that you never shoot at the tanks, right? Like remember, like on Strange, we were talking about like you can farm up the tanks on the front line and put some pressure on them, and then spend 2 seconds to go try to melt down a squishy or something like that, right? It's just being intentional about like who you're shooting at, and not just shooting at the tanks exclusively. Yep. Overall
Yeah, I got a
positioning.
lot to work on.
Yeah, like a lower end of a medium. And then finally awareness, watch your kill feed, right? Watch the flow of the fight, watch the team composition they're on, watch those rocket respawns. I struggle with that a little bit too sometimes, and that's something I need to work on, is like watching those rocket respawns. It's like mercy res, and I'm like just not used to intentionally watching for it. So watch for it, be aware, watch where their team is, watch where your team is, watch for those the ultimates. Overall awareness was a pretty big one, and that's honestly a big part of that probably comes down to your setup, but also just pay attention and keep your eyes and ears open and listen, and it'll help. That was
Yeah, and you gave me a lot of tips, like with the announcing people who are dying. Like that's gonna be a huge changer.
Yep.
And anything that every little bit counts whenever you're working on fucking box TV graphics.
Yeah, exactly.
Setup.
Yep. Overall awareness is probably like a medium high. So put that all in order. I think abilities is an easy thing to start on. Abilities, and then after abilities, probably let's say awareness. Awareness, you can like that, just trying to pay and like swapping up some of those settings and paying attention to your surroundings a little bit more. I think awareness will help your ultimate usage significantly. So like you can just like honestly, if you don't even focus on your ult usage and you just work on your awareness, your ult usage will get better, because your bad ultimates were only the case because you didn't know that stuff was happening and you weren't paying attention. So that's kind of like awareness / ult usage. And then after that, mechanics, and then finally positioning. Any final questions?
I'm good. This is great, man. I can't wait to just like get way better at Hulk. Actually learn how to play Strange and deal damage. This is good.
Sick. All right. Let me stop the recording. I'll get